Peace, everybody. This is Kaisheen with 45 Fitness and Strength, getting caught up with these uploads on my 52-week journey to USAPL Raw Nationals as a Masters lifter for the first time. In this particular week, I only did 2 training sessions, and one of them did not include a competition lift at all, or even a variation on a competition lift. That's obviously not the first session you're looking at right now. You'll see that in clips from the second session right after that. So I suppose this would be a pretty good time to explain why, as part of my training philosophy, I do not schedule deloads into my programming. I'm not advocating that nobody should. I'm just saying that I find that it's best for me not to schedule them any longer. I used to, but I'll explain why. Actually, I guess just for the sake of those who may be watching this that may not be familiar with what that term means, deloading simply is a way of referring to scheduled times in your training, scheduled or unscheduled, I suppose, blocks in your training where you back off, you take a rest, you don't train as hard, you basically reduce the load of the work that you do as part of your strength training or athletic training. That's what deloading is. But when it's done best, it's planned. It's something that is scheduled in so that say you go for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, whatever period of time it is, you train hard, and then you schedule some time for your body to recover, and you back off of the training that you've been doing. Either you reduce the volume, you reduce the intensity, you reduce the frequency, or some combination of those factors, or maybe something else. Now, with that said, why is it that I do not schedule deloads for myself any longer? I've found that the best way for me to say it is that life tends to schedule them for me, so I don't need to schedule them myself. By that I mean, at this point, I have a lot of moving parts in my life, and I'm guessing that many of you who may be in my age demographic have the same thing going on. Those moving parts basically boil down to family and job. The work schedule is not quite as predictable as it may have been some years ago. And now, compared to when I first started training, my wife and I have 3 children. We had just had our first. Our first was about 2 years old around the time I started competing. And that was back in 2008. So fast forward now to 2018, and you have 3 children who are now 13, 8, and 6, and who have school. They have their own activities: dance, soccer, volleyball, whatever. They have lives of their own, but guess what? They can't drive themselves there, and they can't pick themselves up. You have mounting health issues of your own. Your spouse, like in my case, my wife has had some very serious health issues, including some hospitalizations and things along those lines. So I found that I would, schedule time off and, have an easy week in the gym. But then, because of something going on where I had to juggle my schedule to accommodate an illness, a practice, a show, a performance, or whatever, now I end up with another week where, I'm only in the gym once or twice. So you tack that onto a deload, you end up with, say, 2 weeks in a month where, you really haven't done a whole lot. And that's just not ideal for progress. So I realized that, life seemed to be, as I put it, scheduling deloads for me from time to time. So instead of scheduling them myself, I just got to a point where I said, you know what? I'm just not going to plan time off. I'll just train and, just keep on going until situations call for me to have to slow down a little bit, take some time off, and or lighten things up, slow down, whatever the case may be. While this system has worked well for me, I'm not advocating that nobody should schedule deloads. And in fact, I scheduled them for myself for a number of years. If you have a stable schedule, if you don't have a lot of moving parts in your life, if you don't have, or if you have the ability to basically get to the gym whenever you want to, then I would say it probably is to your advantage to schedule deloads periodically, and the intervals between them, it's pretty much up to you. You know, if you want to do it every 4 weeks, every 6 weeks, whatever, I think some of that would depend on how frequently you train also. If you train, say, 5 days a week, you probably are going to want to have your deload week, say, every 4 weeks or 5 weeks. If you're only training 3 days a week to 4 days a week, you probably don't need to deload as frequently as someone who's training 5 to 6 days a week. I think that's just pretty obvious. I think a good rule of thumb is to say that the more frequently you train, say per week, the more frequently you'll schedule your deloads throughout the calendar. But it's just a matter of each of us as an individual examining our lives, finding out what's important to us, what our priorities are, and planning accordingly to make sure we can get the things done that we need to. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit the like button on it. Please subscribe to our channel. And until next time, I hope you'll do everything you can to get stronger, grow wiser, and live better. Thanks for watching.